Next question from Abel Malcolm. Abel is also another avid supporter of the channel. Thanks for seeing you. Thanks for being here, Abel. Question: since China is considered an honest broker, can it get more involved in brokering a peace between Israel and Palestine between Palestine and Israel conflict?
Well, I mean, since China helped broker the Saudi-Iran deal, and China has offered to broker peace in Ukraine, I see no reason why China wouldn't be considered to broker Israel-Palestine conflict. But I think it takes two hands to clap.
To clap.
So I think right now, I think the resistance is probably coming from the Israeli side. They're the one who don't want a ceasefire. So you're gonna have to wait for the both. I mean, same thing with Ukraine. Russia said this when China offered to negotiate a peace deal in Ukraine. Putin said they're receptive to China's offer, but it's the Ukrainian side that couldn't sign on because they have all these Western backers say no, that's a Chinese trap. Don't do it. And I mean, like, even back in we know back in March 2022, the Russian negotiator were sitting down with Ukrainian negotiator in Istanbul. They were about to hammer out agreement, and Boris Johnson flew in. It's like, whoa, wait up. We will back you 100%. Don't sign the deal with Russia. And then we got this conflict that dragged on today. So I think it's a similar type of dynamic. Israel getting their unconditional support from the United States. Israel is the one, and is particularly Israeli leadership. They're not the ones that are ready to make peace, right? I mean, come on, Bibi Netanyahu are threatening to expanding the war to Lebanon. How are they ready to make peace in Gaza? These guys want to escalate because for Israel, they have an incentive to drag United States to be more directly into the conflict,
involved,
to ensure the continued support for their own effort, and so I mean, like, this is where you're gonna have like Saudi-Iran deal happen because both sides express a willingness to put up aside their differences to come to a peace agreement, but right now, I just don't see that same willingness to make a deal from the Israeli side.
Next question from YT, another avid supporter of the channel. Thank you for being here. Europe just slapped tariffs on Chinese EV. How will China respond to the EU?
That is interesting because the EU action is actually not look up unfavorably by German manufacturers, for example, because German manufacturers still depend a lot of their sales and their market share on China. Like they are scared that China could apply reciprocal sanctions. Then the German
shut down the economy in Europe.
It's really, Germans, they already cut themselves off from supply of cheap gas from Russia. Now are they going to cut off their biggest market in China, for the cars? I mean, that's suicidal. But the EU bureaucrats, what do they care? They don't work for the interest of Europe. They work for the interest of Washington. We know von der Leyen is not really working for the interest of Europe. I think Chinese reaction will probably initially be more muted because China always try to explore ways to resolve issues diplomatically. Like for example, if you would look at what China has done recently, they're offering free visas to European countries, to France, to Germany, Spain, I think Italy, Ireland, Luxembourg, Belgium, Netherlands, and now all the citizens from all these countries can visit China visa free for like 30 days. And And this is the effort of China showing the world like we are opening ourselves up. We're trying to stay connected. We welcome the world to us, which is a sharp contrast to what Washington is pushing, which is pushing for decoupling from China. China is adopting a whole different approach. Say like we extend our arms. We want to continue the deepen global interconnectivity. This is the whole point of the Belt and Road Initiative, is to build out further global interconnectivity.
Interesting. Another question, and thank you very much, William N, for your super sticker. It's really appreciate it. William N is also an avid supporter of the channel. Question: will US Grand Beret at Kinmen be a flashpoint?
Okay, so stationing U.S. Army Special Forces Grand Beret on Kinmen Island, which is only a couple kilometers from the main Chinese coast, particularly from the major Chinese seaport city of Xiamen. This is designed to be a provocative move, right? Because a couple dozen Green Beret won't make any difference in an actual conflict. They're just there to like stick it's like U.S. is acting like a petulant child, sticking a finger, getting really, really close. Like, see, I'm not touching you, right? I mean, like, I'm not touching you. But what happened after that? What happened right after that? There was an incident involving a Taiwanese Coast Guard and a Chinese fishing vessel, where the Taiwanese Coast Guard ran the mainland Chinese fishing vessel, tipped it over, and 2 Chinese fishermen drowned. So immediate consequence of that is China announced from now on, China will send its own Coast Guard to patrol the water around the Kinmen Islands.
China's Coast Guard showing force around a group of islands controlled by Taiwan within spitting distance of the mainland. Will Ripley is out front.
Just off the foggy coast near Taiwan's frontline Kinmen Islands, the Chinese Coast Guard intercepts a Taiwanese tourist boat. These are the waters where that incident happened, where the Chinese Coast Guard boarded the Taiwanese tourist boat and checked everyone's ID. You can see how close we are to the skyline of the Chinese city of Xiamen. There are Chinese construction boats all throughout these waters. Pretty easy to mix up which side, the Chinese side or the Taiwanese side, you're on when you're this close. Cross-strait tensions rising here ever since the Lunar New Year holiday. A Chinese speedboat capsized in a chase with Taiwan's Coast Guard, similar to this one several years ago.
As the speedboat was snaking, trying to evade inspection and even drifting, it capsized and 4 people fell into the sea.
2 Chinese fishermen drowned, 2 others survived, telling a conflicting story.
Even if we make quick turns, we won't capsize. It only capsized when it was rammed into.
An infuriated Beijing accuses Taipei of covering up the fishermen's deaths. Chinese officials blame Taiwan's ruling party, reiterating Beijing's sovereign claim over Taiwan, promising to step up patrols in the area. Analysts say the mainland may be testing how far it can push Taiwan, trying to erode its ability to control waters long governed by Taipei. We've been out on this boat for less than 2 hours, and we've already seen at least 4 Chinese Coast Guard boats, including that one right over there, which just made a U-turn. Our captain says that means they're monitoring us just like we're watching them.
And people can find pictures online. Look at the size of the Chinese Coast Guard versus the size of the Taiwanese Coast Guard, right? It's like whale and the minnow, and now the Green Berets on Kinmen Island, they're sitting around seeing all these Chinese Coast Guards making circle around them. I mean, pretty much the incident allowed China to resume its control over the water in the Kinmen Islands. I like to joke. What are those like half dozen Green Berets gonna do? Kinmen Islands is not even It's not. Taiwan left Kinmen Island deliberately undeveloped because that was a front line for conflict with mainland China. Whereas on the other side, you can see from Kinmen Island, you can see the coastline of Xiamen. It has amazing cityscape. So you have these Green Berets sitting there, nothing to do, drinking beer, watching this amazing Chinese city in front of them, and they cannot go there. They cannot go there because they're assignment to be stuck in this little island. I mean, that's the only thing they could do at this point.
Interesting. One more question. I'll take one last one here from Francis Tango. Question: what about ASML, which is in Netherlands? Still China buy products from ASML, or do they already have enough ASML machines? I hear that ASML still export machines to China despite the sanctions.
So for people who don't know, ASML is a Dutch machine maker, which makes these machines that's used to manufacturing chips. And the most advanced machine they make is called the EUV machine. The EUV machines is used by Taiwan Semiconductors, for example, to make the most advanced chips, like the 3 nanometer and 5, the 3 and the 5 nanometer chips. And that's what's been banned by US. The US has banned ASML from exporting EUV machine to China, but ASML was still exporting an older technology, an older machine called DUV machine. And China already stockpiled a lot of EUV machine before the cutoff, but China also stockpiled a lot of DUV machines, which now US is trying to restrict export also. But the DUV machine for a while wasn't covered by the initial US sanction. And DUV machines were used to make like older generation chips, like 14 nanometer chips, for example. And but Taiwan Semiconductors back in a few years back, they figured out a way before the adoption of EUV machine. They figured out a way to use DUV machine through this very complicated process to make 7 nanometer chips. And that knowledge was acquired by China's SMIC. Because a lot of the SMIC engineers, they were previously worked for the Taiwan Semiconductors. There were a lot of, come on, we're the same people. We're the same people.
Chinese.
Yeah, exactly. And so a lot of the SMIC, the SMICs, they adopted the same process that was initially worked out by the TSMC. And so that allowed them to use an older DUV machine that was not yet sanctioned by US to come up with a 7 nanometer chip that used in the Huawei's latest phone, Mate 60. So after the Huawei breakthrough, now the US is like, okay, we got to ban the DUV machine also. We got to ban all the ASML products to China. But I think for now, China has stockpiled probably enough machines, but to continue the production. But China also is exploring alternatives. They're trying to leapfrog the current technology. Right now, basically depending on DUV, UV. China is exploring some very creative ways to make advanced semiconductor chip. One of the latest method I heard, they were trying to use particle accelerators to mass. This is one of the method that was under research by China's top Tsinghua University. So that will allow China to completely bypass all those patents by Dutch, by American companies, and develop their own indigenous IP patents that will power China forward. So I don't expect that to be put into mass production anytime soon. But I think we're going to see results in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah. Is this part of quantum computing?
I think it's different, but what China. So right now within the transition period of 5-10 years before China come up with alternative solution, I think China has stockpiled enough DUV and EUV machines to make the 7 nanometer chips, and maybe even one of the things. The problem with the DUV machine compared to EUV machine is the process to make 7 nanometer chip is a little bit more complicated. So it's more cost. It increase because you increase a rate of defects. So that way it's less cost effective. But the thing is, the Chinese market is so big. And because Huawei don't have any other choice, if they ramp up the production, they will be able to iron out, the kinks. They're going to be able to make the process more efficient. And I think that will take them 5 to 10 years to do that anyway. So in the 5 to 10 years, I expect China would have come out with to bypass the current bottleneck to make advanced semiconductors.
Where can they find you, Carl? Where can they find my community can find your work?
Well, I am on YouTube. I have my own YouTube channel, Carl Zha. Just search my name, you'll find me. And I'm also a prolific shit poster on Twitter. My handle is just Carl Zha, no space. And I also have a Patreon where I run my Silk and Steel podcast, where I talk about everything related to China, history, politics, and culture. I'm doing a chronological retelling of Chinese history from the very beginning. So I have already reached to 540 BC. So I have a long way to go. And so check that out. Go to patreon.com, search for Silk and Steel podcast is the first one in the result. Or check out my Twitter. I post whatever I find interesting. Check out my YouTube channel, Carl Zha.
And I did put the link for you guys on the chat box for both. For Carl's Twitter account there, you can access it. I follow him on Twitter as well. And his channel, I put the link for you there. And I also put the link to all his social network stuff on the description, so you can see it out there when you can check it out. We have to ask this one, Carl. I'm gonna have to here because they asked this question quickly here. How do you see Indonesia's economic future and its relation with China?
Yeah, I think right now there's a consensus among the Indonesian political elite that Indonesia benefits from its economic relationship with China. I mean, this pretty much true across Southeast Asia, with the exception of the Philippines, because United States made an offer that Bongbong Marcos couldn't refuse. That's because Bongbong Marcos, his father Ferdinand Marcos, has stashed billions of stolen
and gold
assets.
and gold in the US.
In United States. So U.S. can freeze that asset, unfreeze that asset, all depending on how Bongbong Marcos behave. They can just offer him, hey, we can unfreeze your dad's, stolen goods, allow you access to all these billions if you play by our rules. But the rest of the Southeast Asia, their economic future is tied with China. I see a tighter economic integration. As I mentioned earlier, BYD is coming to Indonesia to build a factory for EVs, and they already built out this internet I'm on. Huawei built out the 4G network on Bali. The Chinese they build out the power plant on north of Bali that's powering the electricity that I'm running on, and the Chinese phone, brands probably have the largest market share in Indonesia. I'm talking about Oppo and Vivo, and Xiaomi. I'm using a Xiaomi phone right now, I see, because Indonesia had, among all the Southeast Asian countries, Indonesia has the most population. Indonesia is the world's 4th largest, most populous country in the world. First 2 is China and India, and then followed by United States. And then number 4 is Indonesia. And as I mentioned before, one of the problems that China has to manage is its own demographic decline. And one way China managed that is by outbound investment. They're investing into countries with still relatively large young population, and that's Indonesia. Indonesia has a lot of young people, and they need jobs, they need infrastructure, and these are the things that China can help with. So I see, I mean, a lot of the countries in Southeast Asia, Indonesia included, they will keep their close tie with U.S. in like security, because Indonesian military, they have a close tie with the U.S. military, but at the same time they will continue to trade with China because that's what benefits their own nation. So they do not want to choose between U.S. and China, right? And so and they want to be able to be friends with everybody, right? Enemy of none and friends to all, and I think that's a good policy. Yeah.
And maybe next time we'll do a topic about Indonesia. So I'll ask the community. So Tamputra, thank you so much for your super sticker. Truly appreciate it. And the last person here is Lester Banana. Thank you so much for your super sticker. Truly appreciate you. So Carl, I can't thank you enough, man, for carving out time for this wonderful conversation. I learned a lot from you, guy, and I look forward to having you next time. You and I will talk offline, and we'll set up some time when we can address some other Asian topics and so forth. Thank you so much, Carl. Truly appreciate you, guy. All right, you take care. My pleasure. Bye-bye. All right, guys, I hope you find this very informative. As you know, Carl is very informative guy, and someone you want to listen to. And as I said, he and I, we talked that we will be doing this every 2 to 3 weeks. So I'll be letting you know once we set up the time for all this. As always, remember, geopolitics impacts your daily life in more ways than one. Till next time, guys. Bye-bye.